Oh my god, this episode just ended on such a hype moment. How's it going, guys? This is my review of episode 4, but before I get into the overall review, I just have to talk about that ending scene just right now, and then I'll talk about it later on in this video. But I remember first watching this back in college when my friend introduced me to the show, and it wasn't until episode 4, you're going through the episodes, you're like, oh, episode 1, it started very good. I like the introduction of the Titans and all that shit, but then once you get into episode 4, it's going through, it's like, oh, it's very casual, very calm, Eren's on top of the wall, man, this is going great, and then, bam, Colossal Titan shows up, and I can just remember being there with my friend watching this and just being like, holy shit, we're getting this already. I was like so hyped for this, and it's a good way and a bad way this episode ended, because it ends on such a hype note that you're just like, man, I can't wait for the next episode. But it's such a bad one too, because usually when episodes come out, you have to wait a week. Luckily for when I was watching it, I could just go right into the next episode. But I can only imagine the people that were watching this for the first time, and then the Colossal Titan shows up, and that epic shot of Eren looking at the Colossal Titan, just that, and then having to wait a week for the next episode. I was like, oh my god, I couldn't even imagine doing that. But I just want to backtrack a little bit, because I want to talk about the overall episode, because I honestly do feel like that whole ending scene would overshadow everything else within this episode. It's the hypest shit I've ever seen. So going back to the beginning, we start off with another time skip. So the year that it starts us off with in this episode is 850. So episode 1, when we go all the way back to episode 1, was the year 845. So from episode 1 to episode 4, we have a 5-year time skip. And we have the drill sergeant, leading our cadets, leading our main characters, all the support characters that we got introduced to last episode, going through training and all the 3D maneuver gear training that they're using on Titan dummies that they have lined up, and they're slicing the napes of the necks on these dummies, while the drill sergeant is giving the rundown of the stats that he believes, from his training with these cadets, what he sees as their strengths and weaknesses. And we get to introduced to basically every single character as he goes through, Eren, Mikasa, Armin, and all the other characters. So once they get done with the 3D maneuver gear stuff, they go into bandit training. Now, this is a very interesting sequence, because not only do we get introduced to a new character named Annie, who basically destroys Eren and destroys Reiner in the process. She just makes them look absolutely useless, and I'm just amazed at how much of a badass her character is. But overall, this is a very interesting scene too, because she kind of drops some knowledge on Eren and kind of opens his eyes to the bigger picture of the whole cadet situation in the military and how backwards thinking it all is. Because I actually wrote down, kind of summarizing her quote here, but I have it written down right here, where it says, the cadets that are in training right here are better equipped to fight Titans, so that way they can move further away from them and they don't have to fight them. So basically what this is saying is the more that you train, the more you get better, the more that you hone your skills, you actually get a better position of, going to the interior where you're further away from the Titans. So that basically is saying it's your strongest fighters, the ones that have honed their skills the most, actually have an opportunity to not fight the Titans at all. They can actually go into the military police, go and guard the king, and they're furthest away from the Titans than anyone else. Which basically means that all the cadets that were either average or below average are the ones that are forced to either work the walls, fight the Titans, which basically means that they're Titan food in a way. And this opens Eren's eyes to basically how backwards the whole cadet system is, and he gets him thinking. And it's just everyone here is just honing their skills to get further away from the Titans, where his character is actually honing his skills so that way he can actually go on the front lines and attack these Titans. Name drop there. But as the episode goes on, we get back into the meal house, and we have round 2 of Jean versus Eren. And actually, rewatching this episode, I know I was calling him Jean, but in the episode they call him Jean, but it's just spelt differently, so that's why it was very confusing for me. But we have Jean versus Eren round 2, where he's getting so pissed off at him. They're getting into their scuffle. Mikasa cools the situation just for a little bit, but then once Jean sees Eren and Mikasa looking at each other, he flips out once again and goes in to attack him. And this is when Eren has a little bit of a inside his head slow-mo moment, where he kind of realizes heck, this guy in front of me, Jean, is acting the way I did all the way back in my childhood. And he just quickly disperses of the situation, used the same technique that Annie used on him while they were doing the bandit training, and absolutely humiliates him. And he's like, dude, what the heck was that? And then, the situation's calm, and then the drill sergeant comes in. This part had me dying laughing, and he just comes in and is like, what's with all the commotion? I heard some noise in there. And then Mikasa being the savage that she is, just basically blurts out, "Oh, Sasha farted," or whatever. And I was just like, oh my god, I can't believe they just did that. And the fact that the sergeant actually said "you" again, meaning that this happened more than once. So, and then we flash forward further in the episode to the actual graduation ceremony where our cadets are now graduating, and we actually get introduced to the three main branches of the military, where we have the garrison that works the walls, we have the survey corps, which goes out and actually into the field outside the walls and fights the Titans, and then the military police that actually works in the interior and guards the overall royalty and high society folks of the inner walls. And this is where we learn within this episode that the top 10 cadets of the class actually have the eligibility to join the military police. And now I actually wrote down the top 10 list here, and I just want to go through that right now. So let's get right into the top 10. So we have our top 10 cadets. Number 10, Krista Lentz, who's that short blonde girl. Number 9, Sasha Blouse, aka Potato Girl. We have number 8, Connie Springer. We have 7, Marco Bolt. We have number 6, Jean Kirstein. We have number 5, Eren Yeager. And it's nice to know that Eren beat out Jean, and he's absolutely pissed about that. Number 4, we have Annie Lionheart, the badass. We have number 3, Bertolt Hoover. We have number 2, Reiner Brown. And then number 1, our goddess, the absolute badass of the series, Mikasa Ackerman at number 1. And it's just nice to see that this is the top 10 of the cadets. It sucks that Armin wasn't able to get in there. I know that he's smart, but he doesn't have the overall skill and power to actually be like a powerhouse within this, but he does have the brains, which was mentioned within this episode actually. But that's our top 10 list, and eventually we get to the grad party. You know, they're talking about, you know, going up against Titans. Eren gives like this huge ass speech about, you know, we should go out, be fighting the Titans. No one should be running away, going into the inner walls. It's like, if we honed our skills, we should be able to fight up against these Titans. So flash forwarding more throughout this episode, we actually get introduced to Levi and the new Survey Corps coming back from a mission. This is our first look at Levi, and you know, later on in the series, you know, we get to learn more about him and his overall badassery within this series. And we actually get to see Hannes again, and a nice interaction between our older main characters now that are a lot older, were introduced into the military, and they're talking with Hannes, and there's a nice moment between them all. And then, you know, Eren eventually ends up running off, going up to the top of the walls to where he's with his now cadets, now graduated, and they're manning the walls. Sasha coming in saying that she stole some meat, and then all the other characters saying that the speech that Eren gave them, you know, inspired them to actually join the military, not the military police, but the Survey Corps, because they actually want to take their skills that they've learned and actually incorporate them and try to help humanity move forward past these Titans. And then it seems like the episode's going to end right there. Like I stated in the beginning of this episode, that's where the hypeness starts coming in, and then just randomly, just a spark of lightning, and boom, the Colossal Titan is there. He ends up knocking everyone off the wall, kicks the hole in the wall, and it's basically the same events happening all over again 5 years later after the events in episode 1. And Eren right now is just like he's in Kill Titan mode. He ends up going back to the top of the wall, and we have that epic shot of Eren staring down this Colossal Titan, and the episode ends right there. It's the hypest way to end an episode, but it kind of sucks too, because if you had to watch this as it was airing, you'd have to wait a week to find out what happened next. Or of course, if you read the manga, you would know all about what happens, but only anime watchers had to wait a week. And I'm really, really glad that I didn't have to wait a week watching this, and I don't have to now. But I do have some fun stories between this episode 4 up to episode 8, especially for episode 5. So my next review for episode 5 is going to be a fun review, because I have a story to tell you guys about me and my friend when we watched this, and his overall like tricking of me and making me believe certain events. So that's going to be very fun to tell. I can't wait to actually talk about it. But overall, this is my review of episode 4. I think this episode definitely gets overshadowed by that last like 2 minutes of this episode, when that Colossal Titan shows up. It overshadows all of the events within this episode. But other than that event, we actually get some good progression. We get to learn, you know, a little bit more about the military and overall like kind of messed up way of encouraging them to hone their skills, just so that way they can not go and fight the Titans. But I think the information we got in the beginning of the episode leading up to when that hype moment comes is very important to the overall series. But I really enjoyed this episode. That last moment just got me so hyped. But I want to hear from you guys. When you guys watched this episode for the first time, when that Colossal Titan showed up, were you surprised at all that you were actually getting to see the Colossal Titan again? And did you expect it to happen later on down the road? Because personally for me, I honestly thought it was going to be happening later. And when he showed up, I got up in my seat while we were watching with my friend, and I was like, holy shit, this is happening right now. Like, I was so hyped for this. So I just want to hear from you guys. What did you guys think of this episode? And let me know down below about when you watch this episode, how hyped were you for the next episode? So that's it for my review, guys. I'm doing Attack on Titan reviews for all of Season 1 leading up to Attack on Titan Season 2, which is airing on April 1st. That's not an April Fool's joke. April 1st of this year. I'm really looking forward to it, guys. So if you guys want to like catch up with my reviews and just get the discussion going leading up to the premiere, definitely do so. Like I said, leave comments down below, leave a like on the video, and if you guys want to keep up with all Attack on Titan reviews and reactions that I'm going to be doing, then just subscribe to my channel. There's a playlist with all of my Attack on Titan videos. You can find it on my channel. But overall, guys, that's it for this video. I definitely look forward to episode 5, and you guys can look forward to that in a couple days. So until episode 5, which I can't wait to talk about, I'll talk with you guys then. All right, guys, see you later.